So there was a leak a little bit ago that involved Persona 5 and Joker being in Smash Bros. And as you know, Nintendo went ahead and said, "Hey, the first DLC character is Joker." They announced it at the Game Awards, and that was a big thing. It was awesome, but a lot of people could have guessed that. But this leak mentioned Joker, and it also mentioned a few other Persona 5 games that might be coming, and one of them was the Persona 5 fighting game that was going to play similar to the Persona 4 fighting game. Now, the thing is, this is kind of, for me, that's a dream come true. I want that game. I love the Persona 4 fighting game was amazing, and cross tag battles really good, and I really want to play a new Persona 4 fighting game on the next gen, especially if they do the same where they keep the Persona 4 and Persona 3 characters along with the Persona 5 characters. That would be a dream come true, and I see no reason why they won't do that. And there's a lot of spin-off games that have been already registered. They've already been trademarked and registered by Atlas. As you know, the Persona 3 and Persona 5 dancing games came out earlier this month. And so if you're a fan of Persona stuff and the Persona 4 spin-offs, Persona 5 seems to be getting the same treatment. There is going to be a Persona Q2 coming out. But the reason why all that stuff is you could have guessed, I feel like. But the reason why this leak has a little bit of credibility to it is because it mentioned that the Persona 5 fighting game is being delayed because Arc System Works is working on a Granblue fighting game. And the Granblue is this mobile game that has partnered with Nintendo. A lot of people are saying Granblue was going to be in Smash. I honestly, if it wasn't for like these fake ass leaks that were obviously fake, talking about Granblue being in Smash, I probably would have never even figured out what the hell Granblue even was. But Granblue is a popular mobile game. I say popular loosely because I don't really know much about it. And today's topic is a topic I don't know that much about, but I have heard some research about this character, and it kind of makes me see and understand why this character makes sense and why this character is really cool. And to be fair, I think this franchise does deserve some recognition, and it's one that I do enjoy it. I just don't really play all of the games in the franchise, but I have friends who've played these games, and it's not. It probably could be my cup of tea, but I don't know. Either way, the character, while they leaked out stuff about Joker and Persona 5, the Granblue thing, the fact that they got that right is kind of impressive because that I did not see that coming. Apparently, Granblue is getting a lot of stuff. Apparently, Platinum Games is going to make a Granblue game as well. That's kind of crazy that they're putting so much work into this mobile game. It's getting real games now. But yeah, so Arc System Works, the people who made Guilty Gear, BlazBlue, and the Dragon Ball Z fighting game, Dragon Ball Fighters, are making a fighting game for Granblue, and it's official. It's really happening. So it makes this leak have a lot more credibility. Not only did they say Joker would be in Smash, but they also said Erdrick would be in Smash. A lot of leaks were saying the Square Enix character would be the first character shown off. Obviously, that's not true. Obviously, it was Joker, which makes more sense to me anyway. Unless the character was going to be Sora, announcing Erdrick at the Game Awards would have been a really bad idea. But also, unless that character was Sephiroth or Sora, announcing Gino or Erdrick would just seem like the wrong place, wrong time for like a Square Enix character. So really, Joker was the best bet. Erdrick would be a terrible bet if that's the only Square Enix character. Now, the thing is about Dragon Quest is I think that because of the people behind it, Square Enix can license that out a little bit easier than they can with the Final Fantasy content. But for some reason, to me, when I look at Square Enix, I'm like, I don't really trust these guys. I don't really know what word to think about this. But I do think that it's really weird because there is a game called Fortune Street where it's basically a Monopoly style board game. It's not like Mario Party. There's no party of games, but Mario characters are in it. Almost every character from Mario Kart 9 or 9, Mario Party 9, and like Mario Kart Wii are all in this game. Like Birdo's in it, Daisy's in it. There's so many. Diddy Kong is in it. Like there's so many Mario characters. Rosalina is in it. Pretty much any Mario character on that exists in the Wii era is in this game. You can play as Bowser too. So like it's kind of crazy how many characters are playable. But it's even more crazy because there's a huge cast of Dragon's Quest characters in the Fortune Street game as well. So it's really funny. You can play as like Mario characters or anime characters that are literally drawn by Akira Toriyama, the artist and the storyboard creator as well for Dragon Ball Z. Akira Toriyama made all that stuff in Dragon's Quest, and it's why the character Erdrick himself, a lot of people draw comparisons to Goku. And really, if you looked at him, you would see like, oh, he looks like Gohan or Goku. Like he looks like a Dragon Ball Z character. And I don't want to like say specific names, but he does look like he belongs in the Dragon Ball Z world, but with a fantasy setting, because Toriyama drew the same style of Dragon Ball Z character. There's a male and female version as well, and the male version looks a lot like if like Gohan or Vegito or something, and the girl version looks a lot like Pan or something like that, like a female Dragon Ball Z character. So it's really funny how that turned out. But real quick, there's a lot of great images of Erdrick if you look him up. Some of the early ones. Then there's some of the later ones where he's like an adult. And then there's some of him wearing this really cool, all decked out blue armor. And if they made him wear something like that for his final smash, that would be really, really tight. I kind of want to fight in armor like that, like this really sweet looking blue armor with this anime character. But I feel like they're going to possibly do a male and female variation. In fact, the leak even said you'll play as male and female versions of Erdrick. So that's kind of, whatever. But the reason why it would be this particular Dragon Quest character, if you don't know, is because Dragon Quest 1, you play as a hero character who is the descendant of Erdrick. And Dragon Quest 2, you play as that character's descendant. And then in Dragon Quest 3, and I'm sorry if I got that wrong, but I've done some research. But in Dragon Quest 3, you play as Erdrick, and that's the character that the characters are all descendants of. Erdrick is like the first legendary hero. He's a very big deal in the Dragon Quest franchise. So having him playable in Smash would make the most sense of all the characters. He's just too legendary. And I'm not sure why there's like adult versions and younger versions and stuff like that. But I'm sure we'll probably get one of the older versions, especially if they do the boy and girl thing. Yeah, Erdrick's a really damn cool looking character. And I don't know exactly what a character based off Dragon Quest would be like. And also, because it's DLC, it's a big missed opportunity to not have Slime in the game as a assist trophy. I know a lot of people wanted Slime to be a playable character. I think they're just people going off the deep end at that point. Because they don't know anything about Dragon's Quest besides Slime, so they think Slime will be a character. And there's some people based off Piranha Plants, and it's like, no, that's not, no. If they're going to do a third-party character, they're going to do a hero character. Now, because of Dragon Quest's popularity in the West, meaning it's not very popular, I've always kind of wrote this game off, being like, it's probably not going to appear in Smash. But now we are kind of getting to that point where we've had Final Fantasy representation, we've had Shin Megami Tensei representation, at least we're going to get some with Joker. So maybe it's not too far off. Because I would say after Shin Megami Tensei and Final Fantasy, the most popular RPG franchise would probably be Fire Emblem. And of course, there's already plenty of Fire Emblem because that is owned by Nintendo. And I would say Xenoblade's probably really up there in popularity too. And we do have Shulk. Sadly, I don't think we're getting Rex and Pyra, but it does make sense that after those popular fantasy RPG franchises would be Dragon's Quest, and it's also one of the originals. Dragon's Quest is not the original RPG, but on home console NES, I'm pretty sure it does predate Final Fantasy, so that is kind of a big deal to feature a character, a franchise like Dragon's Quest, which has been really popular and it's been around in video gaming forever. But a lot of people in the West just aren't that familiar with it, even though it always comes out here. Most people know it as the game that has characters that look like Dragon Ball Z characters. Erdrick, though, is definitely a character that, if they're going to put in any Dragon Quest character, they're going to put in him. And I'm fine with that. I don't consider it to be a filler character or like a waste of a slot. Because I know there's going to be people who are going to be happy, especially in Japan. I know a lot of people here are going to be like, yeah, okay, we're getting, it's not nearly as hype as someone like Joker, whereas Joker's hype in America and Japan. And I personally feel like a better bet would be to go with to stop doing RPG characters. Even though I love RPGs, it's like there's only so many good ones, and we've got Final Fantasy, we've got Xenoblade, we've got Fire Emblem, we're gonna get Persona, so I don't think Dragon Quest is that necessary. I think instead they should focus more on like on their fighting game character like Heihachi, but there is four characters and we possibly know two of them. We know for sure one is Joker from Persona. And so if we know another one, that means there's three left. So plenty of room for a character like Heihachi to be put into the game. But personally, mainly because I don't know what Erdrick's moveset would be at all, I am not that excited, and I kind of wish they would skip over it. But it seems like if Nintendo was picking the characters, they might want to go for something like Erdrick in Dragon's Quest. And they know that's probably going to be a big deal for Japanese players. But for here, I'm literally yawning. I'm literally yawning thinking about it. So at the end of the day, I am happy. I'm not upset. There's nothing wrong with Erdrick. There's nothing wrong with Dragon's Quest having representation. But personally, I could probably think of four characters that I would prefer over Erdrick. So, but it's whatever. You can't deny the immense impact and popularity that Erdrick has had on Dragon's Quest or Dragon Warrior or whatever you want to call it. So you just can't deny how important this character has been to the franchise and how important Dragon's Quest as a franchise has influenced so many different medias and so many different games and so much of Japanese culture and stuff like that. So I'm not going to make fun of it or sleep on it or anything like that. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. Obviously, this is just a leak, and most leaks are bullshit. And this one's probably bullshit just all the same. I don't necessarily believe it just yet. Honestly, I feel like no leak that's ever been like, this is the real one was ever real. The only one that was like, Vergeman's the only one who got things right, and he didn't get anything right about DLC so far. So at this point, I don't think any leak means anything at all. But Erdrick is if there's going to be a Dragon Quest character, it's going to be him. That you can bet your bottom dollar on. So, and he'll probably be the only Square Enix character if they do one. I'm not sure what the problem is with Final Fantasy and why, but whatever. Either way, it seems like there's no reason why Dragon's Quest couldn't be in the game, but it would be kind of lackluster, but at the same time, kind of necessary. So I'm gonna leave it at that. I still hope we're getting something like Heihachi down the line, or something like that coming up, or maybe another cool character. I'm not exactly sure. I don't know if I really want Dante or a Resident Evil character from Capcom, especially now that there's seems to be Erdrick coming, meaning another character with the sword. Do we need Dante, another character with the sword? Well, at least Dante would have a very, very interesting moveset, and Dante is pretty cool and most people like him. But, there is a lot of Capcom representation already. I kind of would, and now for Joker, it's like another Sega character, even though it's Atlas. So I would kind of prefer if we moved away from that stuff, and I don't know. Besides Heihachi, it's really what I'm pulling for here. So, can't think of much else from Namco. Can't think of much else from Konami, especially because Barman's already an assist trophy. So, we're gonna have to see what comes. I do think I am saddened by the fact that I'm no longer confident in Gino or Rex and Pyra, but if you're going to do all these anime characters, at least do another middle range platforming character like Banjo to balance things out. I do think Banjo chances are getting higher and higher and higher every day, so that's good news for Banjo fans. Bad news for Gino fans. But we'll see what happens with Erdrick. And I'm sure once I actually see the character in action, I'll be in love with it, as I was very happy with Pac-Man and Little Mac, which are two characters before Smash 4 came out, where I said everyone was saying Little Mac and Pac-Man, and I was saying, no, don't do that. They're not going to work. And after seeing them, it's like they're awesome. So Just because you can't see any moveset potential doesn't mean Sakurai won't just pull something out of his ass to make something really good. And Erdrick is at that position where he could pretty much do anything he wanted with that character. So we'll see what happens. Time will tell. Honestly, I know a lot of people will be upset because they'll be wanting Sora instead, but I don't think Sora's gonna happen. And personally, I'd prefer Gino over Erdrick, but I don't think Gino's gonna happen either. So Erdrick is looking kind of likely, but that doesn't matter. All that matters, because literally speculation doesn't matter. What matters is what happens when actually the information comes out. We might find out more information about Joker before his release, which means January is a good month, because that's when Piranha Plant comes out. And when we learn more about Joker, we might learn about the next character. So we'll just have to see what happens. Anyway, I'm going to end this video here. I don't have much else to say about Erdrick. Normally I would talk about different costumes and the stage and blah blah blah, but the leak kind of already laid that all out, and I don't really know enough about the character to go into it. So I'm going to leave it right here at this, and I'll see you guys next time.